Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week we're going to be talking about patio heaters, and we'd like to thank Photo Pilot for a 5-star rating and review of our 10th home improvement ebook. It's called Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, and you can download a copy on Amazon. One of the first infrared patio heaters was developed by Infrared Dynamics in 1961, and they still make the Sun Glow patio heaters, and was first used by country clubs, hotels, and restaurants. I went to a couple local hardware stores and home centers here in the Chicago area to see what they had on display, like if you were shopping for a patio heater. And at the local hardware stores, they didn't have any of like the propane heaters. All they had were fire pits on display.
Really?
And at one of the home centers, they had 2 tall freestanding propane patio heaters and 5 outdoor fire tables. I thought it was interesting that they had 5 of these tables. I didn't realize they were that popular. I don't think I've ever seen those in anybody's home.
My uncle has one. You've been there.
He definitely hasn't had it on while I've been over. I probably thought it was just a table, because the one was pretty big. It was 48 by 28 by 22, and half of the top was the area for the flame. It was circular, and it was filled with lava rock. You have a 20-pound propane tank underneath this table, so it's kind of covered.
Right.
Well, it is covered. And then the flame comes up through this. They had one table that was circular and 3 square tables, 24 by 30 by 30, and they had a small area around the fire bowl where you could set glasses or plates, but there wasn't a lot of room to use the smaller ones as like a real table.
Right, because it's used for heat.
Right, and more decorative.
And heat.
And s'mores. When I spoke to the salesperson at the home center, he showed me what they had online, and there were 27 types of electric patio heaters.
You're not going to cover all of them, right?
No. And 45 types of gas heaters to choose from. So he suggested doing your research online, and then it can be shipped to the store to pick up. At the hardware store, they checked the computer to see what could be ordered, and they said there were 47 items under the patio heaters and fire pit category. So when you're shopping for a patio heater, a good place to start is going to be online.
Okay.
An interesting fire bowl that one of the salespeople showed me looks like a wood-burning fire bowl, but it's filled with lava rock, and it has a hose that goes to a 20-pound propane tank. So you can actually control the height and the heat output by this knob that you turn, so you can control the amount of fuel that it gets. And this one had decorative cutouts on the sides, so it's going to throw more heat. And this was rated at 58,000 BTUs. And the one I saw was CSA approved.
What's that?
Which is the Canadian Standards Association. It's like UL. And in many parts of the country, you can use a UL or a CSA approved propane fire pit during a burn ban.
What's that?
So a burn ban is not allowing you to burn anything that's wood, sometimes charcoal, because of the air quality, or if it's dry weather, they're trying to prevent fires. But I would check my local village so you don't get fined.
Okay.
The most popular patio heaters are propane, electric, wood, and natural gas. With the natural gas, you're going to have to cut into an existing gas pipe and then create a hole in the wall to get the gas out to your heater. And you'll have to check with your local code. You're going to need a permit in most communities to make sure it's installed properly.
Right.
Most homeowners will go with propane if they want a gas patio heater. It's going to be much more portable. And with the gas patio heaters, you can get fire tables, fire bowls, tall freestanding heaters, tabletop heaters, and the small tabletop heaters use a 1-pound propane tank.
Okay.
A couple of the tabletop heaters I looked at were around 3 feet tall, and most were right around 10,000 BTUs, and the company said they're going to heat an area of around 30 square feet, and it's going to raise the temperature 10 to 20 degrees, depending on the wind conditions. And these will run for around 3 hours. The tall freestanding propane patio heaters come in 2 main styles, and these are usually 7 or 8 feet tall. One style has a base where you're going to put a 20-pound propane tank under a cover. There's a burner on top of a pole with a reflector on top, and that's radiating heat down. Some will have an adjustable reflector, which is a good feature to compare when you're looking at these.
Okay.
The other type of freestanding patio heater is usually called a pyramid style. This has a 20-pound propane tank in a covered base, and instead of a pipe going up to a burner, the flame starts at the base and goes up a glass tube, and this will have a reflector on top. Much more decorative.
Mm-hmm.
You should compare the BTUs on these types of models. The patio heaters I looked at, they ranged from 34,000 to 48,000 BTUs.
Why don't you explain what BTUs are?
BTUs are British thermal units. It's used as a measurement so you can compare the heat produced. One manufacturer said a 40,000 BTU freestanding patio heater will heat around 115 square feet, so around 10 foot by 10 foot. A 48,000 BTU unit said it heats around 200 square feet. When you're shopping for freestanding patio heaters, see if they have wheels. It's going to be much easier to move them around if you change the placement occasionally. Look for safety features like auto shutoff if it tips over. Can you adjust the flame? Can you adjust the reflector? For the pyramid style, what type of glass? The quartz glass tubes are considered more durable, especially if it starts to rain while the unit's on, because hot glass and cold rain can cause some glass to break, yes. Does it have a weighted base for windy areas? And then ask about the maintenance if you're purchasing from a home center or a fireplace retailer. Can they help in the future if it doesn't light? Also, can you bring it in and have it serviced? One manual I read recommends having it serviced every 100 hours of use.
Who's going to keep track of that?
One service problem I saw a lot with these freestanding propane heaters is the tilt switch going bad.
What's that?
So this is a device, if it tilts too far or if it falls over, it's going to turn off the propane going to the burners.
So that's good.
Right, it is good. But they say they go bad pretty often. I saw a lot online. One of the recommendations, if you can't get the burner going, is to cut off the two wires going to the sensor, connect them with a wire connector, so you're bypassing this safety feature. And then in most cases, they say the burners will light up, and then you can order a new tilt sensor.
Okay.
Most of the freestanding propane patio heaters are going to need to be assembled. Once they're put together, make sure you test all the gas line connections with a gas leak test solution. So this is a specially formulated liquid that will show bubbles if you have any type of leak, even a very small leak. If you use just a standard soapy solution,
right,
some types of soap and some mixtures will not show small leaks. So now most manufacturers are recommending that you use this gas leak test solution, and you can get that at the hardware store.
Okay.
Another thing to think about with propane is where you're going to be storing the 20-pound tanks. In the off-season, you don't want to store propane tanks in the garage or a shed. It
was in the news the other day that a propane tank was being stored in a garage.
Right.
And it was leaking, and it blew up the whole house.
Yeah, if it's hot in your garage or a shed, propane gas can vent out of the relief valve and potentially be a fire or an explosion hazard. You want propane tanks stored around 20 feet from your home in an upright position so the relief valve can do its job. The area should be well ventilated, covered if possible, and I would get it up off the ground to help prevent corrosion.
So you said not in a shed?
Right.
And not in the garage?
Right.
So what are you supposed to do?
So like the overhang on a shed is nice, or if you have a covered area, or you can build a little wooden structure. So
for a propane tank?
Yes, for your propane tank. I've actually seen storage containers for propane tanks. They cover it so they don't corrode, but they're open all around. They have little slots, so it's well ventilated.
Complicated.
Yeah. Christmas present. With electric patio heaters, some have a tall stand and they look like a gas patio heater with a reflector on top. You can also get electric heaters that just have a wide rectangular heater on top of a pole. These can be directed where you want the heat. Mm-hmm. There are rectangular wall and ceiling electric mount styles, also hanging styles. Some are circular, so they look very decorative, almost like a hanging light, right, and they radiate heat straight down. You can get an umbrella-mounted heater. This will attach to the pole of the umbrella on a patio table.
That's cool.
There are tabletop heaters and also table heaters. So the heater is in the center support of the table. How cool is that?
Super.
You can also get freestanding small floor heaters. When you're shopping electric patio heaters, you want to compare the power cord length. A couple of the tabletop heaters I looked at had 6-foot cords, and one of those bistro tables with the infrared heat column in the base of it, it had a 72-inch cord. You should also check where your outlets are located. Most companies don't recommend using an extension cord for a heater, but if you do need to extend the power cord, you want to use a grounded outdoor rated cord that's the same watt rating or higher than your heater, and you want it the shortest length possible.
Okay.
For electric patio heaters, you should be checking the watts. Most I saw were 1500 watts, or if they had a couple of settings, 1500 was the high setting. And if you're using the heater continuously at 1500 watts, it should be on a 20 amp circuit. The National Electrical Code says you should only have a max continuous load of 80% of the wire's rated capacity.
What the heck does that mean?
So a 15 amp circuit, for example, 80% would be 1440 watts maximum. On a 20 amp circuit, 80% would be 1920 watts maximum. And the National Electrical Code considers 3 hours of use continuous. So if you're remodeling your home and plan on having electric patio heaters, this is a great time to plan a couple dedicated circuits. Because even on an outlet you have, let's say it's 20 amps, what else is on that circuit?
Right.
The outdoor outlet should be a GFCI or protected by a GFCI outlet or a breaker. And you should have an in-use cover. So this is a cover that can be closed over the plug to protect it while it's in use from moisture. So it's a bubble shape.
Right.
One of the manuals I read for an electric patio heater said only plug it into a GFCI protected grounded outlet. Keep the power cord away from the unit. Avoid using an extension cord. No objects should be within 3 feet of the front of the unit. Do not cover the power cord because they air cool. Do not use near flammable objects, liquids, or vapors. And if an extension cord is needed, use an appliance cord rated higher than the unit rating. For example, a 1500 watt unit, you should be using a 1900 watt or higher cord. And check all your clearances. 10 inches from the top and bottom and 12 inches from the side. So it's nice to do a little of this planning before you purchase something. Electric infrared heaters aren't heating the air. They heat objects that the infrared rays hit, so they aren't affected by wind. Cool, huh? There's no emissions, so many of these can be used in semi-closed areas or a garage or a workshop, so you can kind of have multi-uses for it, which you wouldn't want to do that with a gas or a wood heater, but I would check my manual. Some of the halogen heaters have easy-to-change bulbs, and check the labels. Many of these are designed so the exterior is cool to the touch, so it's going to be safer to use around kids and pets.
Right.
And some of the electric heaters that are ceiling mount or wall mount have remote controls.
Fancy.
So that's cool. I read an article from Stiebel Eltron. It's Stiebel, capital Eltron.
Wow, this is the first time you spelled in this episode.
And they've been in business since 1924. They have electric patio heaters that use short-wave technology rather than medium-wave technology, and they say it uses half of the energy. They recommend wall and ceiling mount patio heaters for covered patios, balconies, and decks. And they have a wall mount 1500 watt heater. If it's mounted 7 feet high, it throws heat 8 feet 10 inches away. And they say it covers about 100 square feet. And they recommend multiple units to heat large areas. And when I was comparing different electric heaters, some had the BTUs listed, and some only had watts listed.
Interesting.
One of the electric bistro tables that I looked at, it was 5,000 BTUs, and they say it heats about 25 square feet. There was a hanging electric patio heater rated at 5,000 BTUs. It said it heats 10 square feet. So it's interesting, isn't it? So both are 5,000 BTUs, but a big difference in the heating area, how
Right.
it's shaped.
Mm-hmm.
There was a 3,000 BTU small standing heater that heats 35 square feet, and there was a tall standing heater, 5,000 BTUs, that heats 100 square feet. I saw a tall freestanding electric heater. It was rated only at 1,500 watts. They say it will heat a 120 square foot area. And there was a wall mount electric patio heater, only rated at 1,500 watts, and it also said it will heat 120 square feet. One of the tall freestanding electric heaters I looked at had both of the ratings. It said 1,500 watt and 5,000 BTUs, and this has a rectangular heater. It says it heats up to 9 feet away, not affected by wind. It has a 5,000 hour lamp, and this can be used inside a garage or a workshop. So it's nice to have that type of information
Right.
when you're looking at these. So then I looked at another electric halogen infrared lamp, and this looks like a tall lamp, like very decorative. So this was rated at 1,500 watts also, but it says it only heats 56 square feet. Whereas like that, one of the other ones we talked about was 120 square feet. So just the shape of the dome on top, it looks more decorative,
Right.
but it doesn't heat as large of an area.
Mm-hmm.
If you like to burn wood, you can get fire pits and chimeneas and generate some heat on a patio. But check your local codes before you buy it. Some of the wood fire pits can't be bigger than 3 foot diameter or 2 feet tall. You generally want anything wood burning to be 10 or 20 feet from any structures, nothing overhead. And if you're putting this on a deck, you may need a grill pad for sparks and something under it to protect your decking.
Mm-hmm.
There's a product called Deck Protect, and it's made out of volcanic rock fibers, and that helps block the heat under a fire pit. I saw a fire pit called Solo Stove. It's SOLO, capital STOVE. This is stainless steel, and it comes in a few sizes. It has air holes at the bottom to pull air in to feed the fire, so you get a better fire. It's a double wall construction, so there's air holes that not only is it pulling air to feed the fire, but air goes in between these layers. It warms it up, and there's air holes at the top, so you almost get a double burn at the top, so you're creating more flames, a hotter fire, and you're going to have very little smoke. So it's kind of interesting. Some of the things you should be thinking about when you're looking at patio heaters: what is the surface that it's going to be on? Because like a wood deck, it might not be great for a wood burning fire pit. How close is your unit going to be to walls? Is there anything overhead? What are the space requirements? How many square feet are you looking to warm up? Is your area windy? You might want something with a weighted base, or you might want radiant electric heat, something that's directional where you can put the heat where you want it. How big is the area? How many people will be in the area? Do you need heat, or are you just looking for atmosphere? So those tall, freestanding glass tube units,
Right.
or like a fire table where the flames are, dancing right there, might be the best thing for you. For electric, do you have an outlet that will work with your unit? Some top-rated patio heaters are from AZ Patio Heaters. It's just the letter A and the letter Z. Fire Sense, it's fire and then sense, SENSE. Lava Heat. Sunglow, it's SUNGLO. Dynaglow, it's DYNA, capital GLO. Endless Summer. Golden Flame. And the Amazon Basics Commercial Patio Heater was rated very high.
Do you have anything else to add?
We want to thank everyone who downloaded our 10th ebook, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, and you can get that on Amazon. And for those of you who have downloaded the ebook, we would really appreciate a review.
5 stars.
It helps us get promoted by Amazon.
Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Himalaya, or your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download all of our books on Amazon, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, books 1 through 10.
If you enjoyed it, please give us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Cindy on Twitter at FixitCohost, and you can follow us on Instagram, Fixit Home Improvement.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.